It's today at Cowes. Day 3 it is, and well, not too much wind this morning. Matt Sheehan and I were hanging around waiting for the wind to come in, as were many others, Matt.
Well, indeed. I mean, I don't think Cowes Week would be Cowes Week without at least one big postponement, would it? And we're quite used to that. But this one was quite a good postponement because it was ashore.
Yes, it was. It certainly was ashore. And although the breeze was tantalisingly coming in from the north and northwest, it didn't really fill in till about 2 o'clock or half past 1.
I think that surprised quite a lot of people. Actually, I mean, it wasn't flat calm out there. There was this little sort of northerly breeze that kept teasing people into thinking that we might be going, but it didn't come, or at least it took a lot longer before the Southwest Sea built. But when it built, it was beautiful. Anyway, that's probably a little story for later on. In the meantime, you went and spoke to a few people.
I did, yes. I managed to speak to quite a few people, and what a magnificent sight it was to see Tenacious coming in, the Jubilee Sailing Trust tall ship, and I spoke to her watch leader. It's Charity Day on day 3 of Cowes Week 2022, and I'm with the Jubilee Sailing Trust and the Scaramouche Sailing Trust, who are joint charities for Cowes Week. But I'm with Graham Strudwick, who's watch leader on the lovely Tenacious here, and briefly, Graham, just tell us about Tenacious. She's a square rigger, and a lot of sailors, both able and disabled, have learnt their skills on her, haven't they?
They have indeed. She is now 21 years old, 22 years old, and has sailed virtually around the world. She's been all the way across the Pacific, down through Australia and New Zealand, back round the Horn, and I've enjoyed sailing on her for 20 odd years.
You've got a bit of an odd challenge here for Cowes Week, haven't you?
I have indeed. On a recent voyage, there were a very, very exciting group of people wanted to take on a big challenge to make a difference for Tenacious and for the Jubilee Sailing Trust. And after a long series of discussions, we ended up with taking 2 of the disabled people on that voyage up Mount Snowdon. And that's what we're going to do this year on the 24th of September.
You're going to take them up Snowdon?
We are hauling the wheelchair person, and the person who is not in a wheelchair is being aided to climb the mountain, basically, yes.
That's to show off what you can do and the knots that you tie, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's mostly about how the able-bodied and disabled work together to achieve things that seem impossible.
Well, that's very much what happens on a large sailing ship like this. It's all about teamwork, isn't it?
It is, and the only thing we haven't mentioned is that she is actually unique. She is the only ship in the world that is actually totally accessible for disabled people.
Well, thanks to Graham and, of course, to Tenacious. It was the official charity day today. That's Jubilee Sailing Trust and the Scaramouche Sailing Trust. Matt, how about tall ships? You've done much on those?
I haven't, actually. The heights sort of rather scare me. Having said that, before I was a journalist, I used to work for Proctor Mast, and we built the spars for Tenacious. And can't remember how many years it was, we had to go and sort of service them and look at them. And I have had to climb up a little way, and it just scared the living daylights out of me. So I don't think I would. Thank you very much.
Well, something slightly smaller, and our featured class of the day is the Daring. And I managed to speak to Supremo in the Daring class, who unfortunately has had a bit of an accident on a mountain bike, no more. But it's Giles Peckham. Well, down here on Trinity Landing, in the background, you will see some graceful boats, which are part of the very much Cowes class, and that's the Daring, sailed out of the Royal London and always moored over here. And Giles Peckham is here from Dauntless. Now, Giles, you're not racing this week. Why is that?
Unfortunately, Steve, I fell off the mountain bike 3 weeks ago, so a little operation. I'm not allowed to put any weight on my leg for another 3 weeks yet.
Not good preparation for Cowes Week, then?
Not the best, no. I disappointed a few people, made quite a lot of other people very happy. So,
Well, I say a graceful boat. She is a lovely boat, the Daring, with chevron on the sail. Why the Daring?
Oh, well, it was kind of accidental 40 years ago, and it's still the most numerous one-design fleets for weekend racing in Cowes. So, still enjoy that very much. They are really good boats for the Solent, the big sail plan for fighting the tide. Inevitably around the Solent you hit a rock, so you don't want a fragile keel, and one of these more traditional long keels is actually quite a bit more robust, and everybody has a fair chance without throwing a checkbook at it. And The scrubbing, for instance, we keep them on the moorings here, and they're scrubbed in rotation to make sure that you're not allowed to scrub between times. We buy the sails at the same time from Ratsey and Lapthorne here largely, and that keeps the cost down and stops you from buying new sail every regatta. So lots of controls there.
It's good not to have checkbook racing because, some people do, don't they? They just sign a bigger cheque and you get a faster boat. So the big question now then is, who was the most recent to have it scrubbed?
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're talking days now because
Yes.
they were all re-antifouled and scrubbed last week, really. So, yeah, you're going to get a couple of days difference, but not a lot.
It's still fair then. So, have you got someone steering her?
Oh, yes. So I have two co-owners who only come for Cows Week, bless them. And Milo Carver is on the stick and Richard Romilly's in the middle. And the other two are Jane, my wife, and Josh, my son. So, right.
Oh, perfect. And how's the coach treating them then?
Relentless. I'll tell you, Steve, I'm getting more nervous on the shore than I would be on the boat. It's just watching them go around. Yeah.
Who should we be looking for then, other than yours?
Double It, which is John Corby and Graham Wilkinson. They've done very well. They beat us by a couple of points in Cows Classics Week a few weeks ago, and they won the first race, but they were second yesterday to Dauntless, so they're in there. Debutante, Richard Ottaway and James Sumption, they're right up there. Got the speed, got the capability. Streak's doing very well this year, so yeah, quite a few vying for the points.
Well, it's a great class, as I say, daring. I've enjoyed sailing her a few times, and they're lovely to sail. 3 people, and nice spinnaker as well. So you get the full sail.
Yeah, in fact, yesterday we have the option of a smaller reaching spinnaker as well in the wardrobe. And yesterday the smaller reaching spinnaker really helped a lot. That's what got Dauntless from third to first and won of the race. So yeah.
And quite an important and tough decision for someone because there is a rather nice prize at the end of Cows Week for the winning daring.
There is, yeah. As I say, coincidentally, I just happened to put this shirt on this morning, but it's Bermuda IOD Race Week, and it happens every year. And the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club is very kind. In fact, the IOD class over there, very kind to offer us an IOD for the week. To the winner of Cows Week, so it's a fantastic prize. It's great racing over there, very welcoming, and that's what they're fighting for.
Well, that's a nice prize to go for, isn't it? And I hope the coach for Dauntless is ready and fit and willing to go to Bermuda then.
I'd like to have the chance again, but we'll see.
Giles Beckham and the daring class, thanks very much, and we look forward to seeing the darings back out on the water. Yes, there's the shot of the line with 14 seconds to go.
Now 14 here looks like they really need to sheet on. They're quite a long way back, just in that middle right of picture. They're quite nicely bow forward with the boats around them, but unless they can get some pace on, as 13, I believe, sheets on nicely. Individual recall. Looks like 36, who's out left of picture there. They might have been over. I can't quite see. 37 is on their hip to weather, so not ideal starts for them. 37 debutante. They're third overall at the moment in this class, so if they have to go back, that's going to hurt their chances today.
So that's Dolphin, number 15, out in front. 14 just tucked in to their lure, Dancer.
Beautiful classic boats these, although a little bit more jib tension on 14. People
Yes.
looking for setting up for different conditions. Obviously tighter jib tension as the breeze builds, but a little bit more power as you ease that jib halyard in the light stuff. So crews looking at different setups, trying to get the most out of the conditions.
Great view of the darings with the tide underneath them heading out to the west really quickly. And at the end of the day, Doubtless was first, Dauntless was second, and Diamond was third. So Dauntless there from our friend Giles Peckham, still up there in the chocolates. So that was the darings. That was our featured class of the day. But Matt, you had XODs, I think, on your list.
I did, yes. I went and talked to a few people about the XODs, which was very interesting. I talked to Jonathan Clark, who was very amusing because he'd found himself at an end of the fleet that he didn't really expect to be at. And I also spoke to Robin Bromley Martin about some of the differences in the XOD fleet and what it is that brings people into this fleet and keeps them there for such a long time. Well, the XOD fleet, as we know, is the biggest fleet here at Cows, and there's always plenty of stories to be told. And I have bumped into this gentleman here, Robin Bromley Martin. He's in the XOD fleet. Robin, first of all, tell us a little bit about your boat, because you've had XODs before, haven't you? And this is your second one. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, actually, it's my third one, technically. We chartered 134 in, I think, 1966 for a couple of seasons, which managed to persuade my father to follow my advice and buy one properly. So we bought 136 Lafayette, which is a Hampers boat. And then when I moved the cows here after my parents died and all, there's nothing more, no more base in Chichester Harbour, so I bought Frivol, who's a Burton boat and better suited to the slop in the Solent.
Why is that?
Because the tolerances are quite wide in the X-Fleet. You can the Hampers boats have a very much more of a spoon bow, whereas Burton's cut theirs to the minimum for the Lymington slop and the cows slop now. Yeah, so yeah.
And the number of this boat is?
31.
Crikey, that's quite an old boat. How old is she?
26.
Does that take a lot to keep her up and running? I mean,
Well, as you can see, I'm not quite keeping on top of the maintenance at the moment. The deck got painted over the weekend, and the varnish work at top but I'm slowly rebuilding her inside and taking off some lovely old sort of toughenal blocks here and there.
now, if you look down the results sheet at the moment in the XOD fleet, you'll find that there's one Jonathan Clark at the top, and I'm pleased that I'm with Jonathan Clark right now. You were just saying earlier on to me that that's not where you normally expect to be.
No, we were 5th last year, and that was really pushing our luck. So we're very happy to be where we are at the moment.
That's still, I mean, fifth is a really good result as well, isn't it? It's always a competitive fleet, isn't it?
Yes, very, very competitive. The top end is just one bad tackle, one bad decision, and you're down in the 20s. Really that tight.
And what have your results been so far?
We wangled a win on Saturday. First win ever for me. I've had 3 seconds, but never a first, so really enjoyed that. And yesterday we were 6th. So we're doing well. We're doing very well.
Nice one. How long have you been sailing an XOD?
Too long. No, an XOD probably for about 15 years. Then before that was an Etchell, and before that was a J24. So I call these floating coffins. I know I shouldn't, but once you're in them, you don't get out of them. They are gorgeous. They are fantastic yachts. Everybody should have one. Everybody should sail one.
What do you think? I know it's early days with 2 races on your score sheet, but is there anything that you can look to that you feel that you're doing right that has got you those positions?
Beating the better sailors, yes.
And how?
Luck. No, more luck than judgment. The guys at the front of the fleet, I don't want to say who they are because they know who they are. They are brilliant. And to be up with them after 2 days is probably, peaked too early.
Well, they do say better to be lucky than good.
Thank you. I agree.
Well, good luck for today. We'll be watching.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Well, they've made the decision. Look, they've all turned towards it. Sails flapping madly. All the jibs flapping like anything. It must be very noisy out there. They're still having to hold back.
But with 12 seconds to go, they are incredibly close. These 2 leaders, middle of picture, I would say they are very close to being over the line. And I think we'll see an individual recall here. Almost certainly will, I think.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Individual recall, there it is. Theme for the day.
Well, it's good that it's an individual rather than a general.
But a nice start from the rest of the fleet. 50 here, bottom of shot. Nice, clean air. Look at them punching out.
Excitation.
Excitation doing a beautiful job there. Clean start for them. Didn't get involved in all that carnage happening at the pin end.
Well, talking of the pin end, the 2 boats that got the best start at the pin end was 67 and Willie McNeil in 123 in Lara. They both got really nice pin end starts. However, 67, to my unofficial eye, was way over the line. And Willie in 123, not so sure. It was pretty close. If you can pull that off, though, that'll be good because they're in a very nice position on 123 at the moment because they've got clear air and a nice long run in towards the beach, and they can just make sure that they keep clear air all the way up this beach.
Well, Matt, that was an exciting start, but you carried on following them a bit.
We did, yes. As you say, it was an exciting start, and I was really interested to see how much that would have played out later on. The fleet basically it was a relatively short race, but they went out to the west, they went down towards Saltmead and around that sort of area, and then they came back along the island shore, but the tide was running so hard to the west that they had to really hug into the shoreline to actually get out of the tide, and it made for some spectacular images. So who did win? Well, interestingly, It was Felix that came first. It was John Tremler in Australita, and John Tremler has been doing well. He was first yesterday, and he got a 6th on Monday. But whenever you talk to anybody in the XOD fleet, it's John Tremler that they all refer to, because he's just on fire at the moment in the XODs. And to be fair, he has been for quite some time as well. So he's a known quantity. And then who was third? Third was Zest.
Well, great to cover the biggest fleet here at Cowes for day 3, and well, there are so many highlights, of course, every day. But for us, the classes of the day have done very well. We look forward to day 4 already, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for the Musto Moment.